Hey guys, Teacher Robert here. So, this is a topic that, quite frankly, I'm getting really sick and tired of saying. Of course, in the wake of the shooting in Florida, this topic has been brought up once again. Now, what happened in Florida, I don't think I need to state the obvious, but I'll say this: it was a horrible tragedy. I wish it hadn't have happened, but it did. So all we can do is hope for the best for the families and hope that they can recover from this tragedy, to the best of their ability and everything. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to dispute that it's horrible what happened. I mean, it obviously is. And in the wake of a tragedy like this, a lot of people will get pretty emotional, which, I mean, is natural. I mean, in the wake of a huge tragedy like this, it's natural for people to get, feel emotional. But sometimes they tend to think with their emotions and they don't try to, like, rationalize and, think logically. Which, again, I mean, it makes sense. Again, in the wake of a fucking tragedy like this, I mean, who wouldn't, I mean, I'm sure if I was a part of it, I would be probably thinking the same way. But that's the problem, and I feel like when this happens, a lot of people jump to conclusions and stuff like gun control. Now, like I said, I feel like I've been seeing this everywhere. Truth be told, I think I go on Facebook too much. I think I have a Facebook addiction or something. I should probably quit going on there so much and spending so much time on there. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been seeing this debate on gun control everywhere. I mean, I've got friends on Facebook who are on both sides, who are, the pro-gun control and anti-gun control and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting here and getting really annoyed and frustrated with this debate because, I guess I would lean more towards the anti-gun control side. Now, I understand that gun control isn't necessarily about taking away people's guns and banning guns and stuff like that. It's more just making it harder, like making the background checks and everything else that you have to do to acquire a gun, making it more, putting more measures into it and making it more difficult for people to get their hands on certain types of guns, like AR-15s. I know I want to say that's the gun that the person used at the Florida shooting. I assume, because that's the gun that's been being brought up late, or like AK-47s, or, M16s, or any type of, machine gun, or whatever, certain types of guns, that can do quite a bit of damage. And so yeah, it's guns like that they want to make it harder for people to attain and to get and everything, and, that's all well and good. And by all means, I mean, as far as like gun control actually taking place, I'm not really against it. I'm not really for it because I genuinely don't think it'll do anything to help the situation. But I mean, if it eventually takes place, then okay, fine. I mean, and hey, if gun control eventually gets established and gun control is put into place, then hey, I mean, if it ends up working and mass shootings like this never happen again, like rarely if ever happen again, then I'll eat my words, okay? I will. But the truth of the matter, well, at least to me, in my opinion, it all comes down to this, insane people who are that cold and that calculated, and people who just lack just the smallest amount of empathy for other human beings. Someone who is that insane and that cold and calculated will find a way, somehow they will find a way to do insane things. And even if you establish gun control, I still think that they will be able to find a way to get, an AR-15 or whatever gun you want to use as an example. They will find a way to get a certain type of gun like that, and they will still use it. They will still go to schools and anywhere else, hospitals, restaurants, public places. They will still find a way to go to certain lengths to get these guns and to do things like this, to go and kill innocent people who don't deserve that at all, So, yeah, I mean, I guess my point is that, I don't think gun control is the solution. I don't think it'll work. Again, if at some point, because God knows we're not going to gun control. I mean, whether you're for it or against it, we all know it's probably not going to happen under this current administration. But I mean, like I said, I don't think it'll work. But I mean, like, if we ever get to the point where it's possible to put gun control into place, then I mean, I don't think it'll change anything. But I won't be out protesting it either. I'm just kind of in the middle where that's concerned. So again, if it gets put into place and it actually does what so many people are saying it will, then okay, fine. Like I said, I'll eat my words, I'll admit that I was wrong, and I'll, you know, everything like that. But I don't think it, you know, I mean, but still, I don't think it'll work. I think crazy people will find a way to get their hands on guns. I mean, it's just like, look at drugs. We made drugs like heroin and cocaine and drugs like that illegal. You know, but people still get their hands on those drugs. People still die from heroin overdoses every freaking day. You know, and it's not about people, because I've been seeing this argument made. It's not about valuing guns over children's lives or any life for that matter. Okay, at least with me. Okay, because I can tell you right now, I don't own a gun. I don't really have a lot of interest in guns. I mean, I'm not opposed to shooting one, but I mean, like, it's not really a hobby of mine at all. So I don't really have any interest in collecting guns or going out and buying a gun. So I mean, really, I could care less where that's concerned. It's not a hobby of mine. But what I'm saying is, like, even if we do put this gun control thing into place, I don't think it's going to change anything. I think people will still be able to get their hands on these guns and go to schools or hospitals or restaurants or wherever and shoot the place up and kill people. You know, so, you know, I mean, I think that people are looking to put the blame on something, and, you know, naturally, I would say they're looking to blame the guns, which in theory would make sense, because, you know, it would, you know, in theory, but I think that when you actually look at this, you know, you take a step back, calm down, and look at this, I don't think it's really going to change anything, because again, I'm not the most knowledgeable on buying guns, really, because I've never bought one, but, I mean, don't we have a pretty thorough background check system in place for guns, or at least guns like that in general? Like, don't we already have a lot of, isn't the backup, or the background checks and everything that goes into getting a gun, isn't it already pretty strict anyways? You know, and the goal of gun control is to make it even more stricter and possibly even making certain guns not available to the public. And again, in theory, that seems like a good idea, but again, like I'll say for the millionth time, I don't think it'll change anything. Okay, I mean, we can try it, and again, like I've said, if it works, I'll eat my words, but you know, like I said, people are very emotional right now, again, and I'm not saying that there's reason to not be. I'm not saying people shouldn't be emotional. They should be. It's a huge fucking tragedy. But, again, people are emotional right now, and they're not really taking the time to kind of step back and think about this, you know. And especially with the people who are actually involved in the tragedy, I can understand that, especially, because, like I said, I mean, like, I'm sure if I was there and I was involved in it, I would probably be reacting the same way right now. But as an outsider, you know, when I hear about something like this happening with this or any other shooting for that matter, you know, my first thought isn't, well, if the gun hadn't been accessible, then this wouldn't have happened. No, what I think is, what was going on in that person's mind who decided to pick up a weapon and take it to a public place and take the lives of so many innocent people? Like, you know, what frame of mind were they in? You know, or what state of mind were they in? What's going on up there? You know, I mean, how did they get to a point to where they lack even the most basic sense of empathy or the ability to feel for other human beings? You know, how did they get to that point? Because obviously they don't, if they're just going to some random place and shooting up innocent people who don't deserve to be killed like that, who don't deserve to have their lives snatched away from that like that in such a traumatic and violent way. What's going on with that person? You know, I mean, what kind of what kind of guidance, has the person had? I mean, and this isn't me making an argument about how God isn't in the lives of how America has become godless or whatever. I'm not trying to say that from a godless household or whatever, but I'm just in general, like how were they treated? How did the parents treat this person? What was their upbringing like? What got them to this point to where they're making the conscious decision to attain a gun, however they may have done that, to attain a gun like an AR-15 and go to a public place and start shooting the place up and killing innocent people. How did they get to that point? And if we can find that out, then